Dear learners, welcome to this session on pricing objectives. My name is Madhulika Kaushik and I've been a marketing teacher for almost a little over 40 years. So we'll be talking about the objectives of pricing, and before we go there, I want you to look at the learning outcomes of this session. I would like you to be able to do these actions or be able to perform these actions as a result of going through this session. You should be able to explain the necessity of defining pricing objective. Why do we need to have pricing objectives at all? You should be able to describe how pricing objectives shape marketing decisions and shape pricing decisions. You should also be able to discuss the various pricing objectives and distinguish between the different pricing objectives. You should be able to apply the concepts that you have learned here to setting prices. So, what are the price setting in practice? Apply the understanding of your objectives to price setting practices. You should be able to explain how these objectives that we are talking about vary over different marketing and product situations. So, based on various strategies that the firm is going to use and what are the different kind of market situations that are there, you would find that pricing objectives may vary. Now, when you want to define your pricing objectives, what are we going to really do? When you are looking at your pricing objectives, you are actually determining the level at which the desired exchanges will take place. So, if you are looking at a particular target segment of the market, what is the level at which you think your exchanges will take place? So, you need to identify, looking at the market demographics, looking at your consumers, looking at the competitive situation, what do you want your pricing to actually do for you? Do you want your pricing to maximize your current profits or bring in the maximum number of consumers and therefore maximize the total number of consumers getting attracted and not necessarily the maximum profit that can be earned? So, you need to really say, what do I want my pricing to do for me? And it has got financial as well as communication level effects, in the sense, what is it that a very high price communicates to the market in terms of price quality relationships, in terms of inaccessibility of a product for a large number of people. Similarly, what does a very low price communicate? So, a price level or a finite price has financial meaning, but it also has some communication implications. As we talked about in the last session, pricing objectives may actually vary at the different levels of the product life cycle, and also with marketing environment, different kind of economic environment, different kind of marketing environment. You may find that your pricing objectives are actually needing to be adapted. Prices are also capable of creating certain perceptions, which we talked about earlier when I said prices have a communication implication, and we will be talking about some of these things as we go further in the session. You must also understand that today the pricing environment is also very, very different compared to some years ago, because instant price comparison on the basis of access to internet, on the basis of what is called ratings and something like a policybazaar.com or paisa.com, all of these, you can actually have, or bettervalue.com, you can actually have comparisons of various prices for insurance products and other products. Even otherwise, there are rating agencies that when they rate products and services, they can actually give you price information. Price catalogs are available online. You can look at aggregators which compare prices for you and give you that information. Now, if that price information is very clearly available to people, then price becomes a different kind of determinant of consumption, because now instant comparisons are possible. People can actually use all that comparative information to use price and compare the various features at which this price is being charged, and therefore make their decision fairly instantly. What are, in actual practice, what are the different kind of pricing objectives you have? The most basic objective of pricing under certain conditions is survival. I mean, there are, when you want to just stay in the market and not be ousted from the market, or you are just a new player and you want to find a ledge to stand in the market and offer things initially at a lower price so that you can survive in the market. As your consumer franchise grows more, as more people begin accepting your product at that price, you then have more flexibility to change your price. The second objective which companies sometimes use is creating entry barriers. A particular firm comes into the market and has a great product, has a large consumer base, but now it wants to prevent other people from entering the product market in that particular domain. Therefore, what they try to do is they keep the prices so low that it becomes unattractive for other people to come in, because they realize that the margins are so low that I probably would not be able to operate there. So, one of the objectives that is sometimes kept, and there are ethical questions on that, but creating entry barriers is one of the objectives that is sometimes applied. There are times where the market is very competitive and the market has become very volatile, either because of changed cost behavior or the price of one particular raw material has become highly fluctuating, and therefore the market becomes a little volatile. Now, at such stages, most companies, either by a cooperative activity or whatever, agree to have a stable price, and most of them begin charging that price so that the market becomes more stable, and they aren't, this effect of volatility does not affect people negatively. So, that is also one of the objectives that people utilize. Sometimes market dominance, you can see what is happening to India's telecom sector, you can see what is happening to India's internet access sector, the internet service provider sector. There are a few players which are so dominant that they price their product to oust competition. I mean, the competitors are there, but the prices are by the market leader, the prices are sometimes brought so low that it is difficult for other competition to survive. Sometimes this is called predatory pricing, and in certain economies it's also it's a marketing practice that is open to legal action, but ousting competition is also one of the objectives that marketers sometimes utilize. Let us look at some of the other objectives. Sometimes when you are in a market and you know that your product will be a popular product for a certain period of time, you price your products so as to maximize current profits, whatever the traffic can bear. So, you take your margin to a level where it will give you the maximum returns at a point in time. A related pricing objective is also to have maximum or to have a certain return on your investment. You look at what is the total investment that has been put into this product or this value offer that you are creating, and then you try to look at what is the margin that I can charge which will maximize my returns in a given period in time. So, that is another kind of objective. An objective slightly diametrically opposite to that is maximizing market share. You are not looking at your current profits, you are not looking at maximizing returns at a point in time, you are looking at having the maximum number of people coming and buying your product. So, you are looking at objectives which can maximize your market share. That means when companies come in with a new product, they have a very small price point so that they can penetrate an existing market. This is known as price discrimination over time. So, as they come in, they keep a very low price so that a certain level of customers will get attracted to that product and start buying that product. As they become more popular, they raise the price in very small denominations and therefore become more stabilized as far as their own margins are concerned. Then another objective which is also related to maximizing market share is value for money market. You look at the consumer's capacity to pay and then you try to create a very small margin for your product so that you do earn something, but it is very good value for the customers compared to the other competitive products. So, it is value for money pricing. He is getting very good value for the money that he is paying. Sometimes you actually go below that margin. When you have a complete product line, you have certain products which have fairly healthy margins, but you have certain products which can actually draw the customers to your product line and then they get exposed to the other products and buy those other products which have got heftier margins. This is called loss leader pricing. This is a hook that is created by companies to bring the customer in, and then when he gets exposed to the other products, he buys those products as well. So, this is where you actually price the product a little below its cost or very thin margins and so on. A variant of that is product line pricing. You look at what are the different products and what are the complementary products and so on. What are the products that will be bought with your other products, and you price your products based on complementary pricing of the other components in the product line. Some of the other objectives that are utilized by marketers are skimming the market pricing, which is again another price discrimination over time. When the product is a novelty, the product is not being seen in the market and it's got a high desirability in the market, it's a new premium product or a new technology that has just been introduced, the product comes with a very high price. There would be people who would be willing to pay a premium price to be the first ones to own that product, because the product has got a sort of a specialty value and gives people a certain status consciousness. So, they pay higher and buy that product. Now, over a period of time, when large number of people start owning that product, the distinguishability of the product on the basis of its novelty goes down, and therefore, it becomes more commonplace and people then marketers then bring down the price. So, it is a price discrimination over time. In penetration pricing, we had an initial low price and then we raised the price. In case of skimming the cream, you try to skim. The objective is to take off the cream of the market to the extent you can and then go back to the lower levels and take benefit of the milk, that is the common market. Another objective is cost leadership within marketing. Now, this or in a given market, this happens when a large player on the basis of economies of scale is able to create a certain cost leadership, that they are able to minimize their costs on the basis of the efficiencies on account of economies of scale. Now, it is possible for them to pass the advantages of these cost leadership to their major customers and enable them to have cost efficiencies in turn, and therefore create this cost leadership position in the marketplace. Third objective, and this is something I have been talking about since the beginning of this session, is one of the objectives of pricing is also to communicate a certain image in the marketplace. So, you can also use your pricing to create a price quality relationship, because clear indications of quality are not available. There is a tendency among customers to use high prices as a surrogate indicator of high quality. We believe that something that is the highest price would also be the best quality. This may or may not be true. Of course, the better price product may have a quality differential, but the quality differential may not be commensurate to the price differential. However, companies deliberately use their prices to create a quality image, and of course, they create what is called a price ladder, where the same company would be having a lower quality variant at a lower price and a higher quality variant at a much higher price. There are some companies which have only the highest level pricing done for their product, thereby seeking a high quality relationship with their own high quality image with respect to their customers by using price as a variable. Sometimes your objective is not to have the highest possible share in the market or the highest possible return. Your objective is to establish a long-term loyalty. Therefore, you have what is called membership-based pricing, which is different from other kinds of pricing. In the sense, people who are members get a lower price. All of these Amazon Prime, your Grofer wholesalers and food retailers actually create a different price for their members, so that they can ensure that these people will be with them because of the price advantage over a long period of time. So, you are trying to buy loyalty of people rather than looking at the largest share of the market. Some other objectives is partial cost recovery, that you do not want to cover all the costs, and this is usually done by non-profit organizations, that you are trying to cover some of your costs, not all costs. So, this is again, as I said, this is normally done by non-profit organizations who do not want to create a large surplus. They, however, want to cover some of their costs. Again, when there is a new consumption that is being promoted in the market, you are bringing in a new value to the market. You sometimes need to make the market, you need to develop awareness in the market, you need to develop a certain consumption and take the market to a certain level. This is called market making objectives. So, the primary demand may not be there, you may need to cultivate that demand, and you may need to have a price point at which people will get attracted to buy because the risk of adoption is very low. So, those pricing objectives are called market making objectives. How do pricing objectives differ for services? Are they really different? You are all aware of the differences between products and services, and there may be a session specifically on services marketing. I do not want to delve into that, but services have certain slightly differential practices. For example, most services have a membership based approach. When you want to charge the fees to a certain group of students, they have to first become members of the institution, and therefore, it would be on the basis of their membership. People who are non-members, who are not what is called registered students, may become your adjunct students, or there would be a different price basis for that. So, again, services also charge on the basis of partial cost recovery when it is a non-profit service, where they rely on donations to take care of the other costs, but to the customers they only charge what is called a partial cost recovery. There are examples of non-profit hospitals or charity hospitals where a certain small amount is charged so that a partial cost recovery can be made. We talked about the price quality relationships through pricing. Services are a major users of this kind of approach. Clubs, gymnasiums, hotels, other hospitality products utilize premium pricing to create a quality image for their own product and so on, and therefore, prices are used to establish an image of exclusivity, luxury image and so on. So, their pricing objective is setting up a certain premium image in the marketplace. Pricing also can be utilized in case of services to minimize the risk of the first trial. When you are experiencing a service for the first time and you are trying to experiment with a particular service, normally you are given a certain free trial. You would all have seen these examples of Netflix saying for first month it would be a free service. They hope that you will get so used to the service by the end of the first month that you would actually buy for money. All of these communication packages, even your, I'm coming back to the health club example, when they want you to be experiencing that service, they give you 2 sessions free or 1 session free and hope that that session would be so attractive that you would take a full-fledged membership. Again, a lot of services are also subject to compliance and regulation. You cannot charge beyond a certain level. So, the easiest example is primary school fees. Most state governments put certain compliance requirement and you have to comply by not charging beyond a certain level. For certain life-saving surgery packages, for health packages, there are regulatory pricing that is put in place and those have to be followed. So, services sometimes have to comply by these and the objective therefore cannot be maximum return of investment or maximum market share, but to comply with the regulations in place. As I round up this session, I would like to leave you with a small exercise. Identify one product in each of these categories, in the introduction stage of product life cycle, at the maturity stage of life cycle and at the decline stage of life cycle. Look at the prices that have been kept and try to surmise what kind of pricing objectives would have been there behind that kind of pricing, and try to explain to yourself on the basis of what you have studied here why a certain pricing objective is more suitable at that particular stage. So, I want you to comment upon how the pricing objectives vary and explain to yourself as to why do they vary. That is your exercise for your own self-evaluation. Thank you very much.